Welcome everyone to this Glide training session. Today's webinar is going to be covering how to use Glide offers, and it's going to take approximately 40 minutes of your time. During today's training, we're first going to be covering an overview of Glide offers. Then we're going to dive into how to create an offer. Next, we're going to discuss how we can manage offers that you receive, and then jump into how to negotiate offers in Glide. And lastly, we're going to walk through the steps of offer acceptance and setting up your transaction timeline. Now, Glide's goal is to make the offers process a lot more manageable by eliminating some of the confusion and also ensuring that you can prepare the correct documents for different types of transactions. You can fill out all of the necessary forms within those documents, which is going to allow you to prepare a complete offer. The current process is quite error-prone, as you take data or information from one sheet or one platform to the next. And as you're moving that data from one system to another, an error can make a significant impact on the entire process. So Glide is looking to eliminate a lot of the manual data entry and help prevent errors along the way. Then there's the inefficiencies when you're working across multiple systems and you're trying to understand where someone is in their review process of an offer. Maybe that's on a listing if you're a buyer's agent, for instance. So at Glide, we're trying to tie everything together all in one centralized place. Today, we're going to be covering what we've done to make that creation process simpler and safer, starting right from the MLS listing page. Next, we'll cover how we can help you manage those offers. So instead of having to pull those offers from all different email boxes and then manually entering them into a spreadsheet, we're going to give you one centralized dashboard that's going to do a lot of that work for you automatically. And because we have the CAR forms licensing piece, we can now counter directly through our platform. Then finally, once an offer is accepted, we're going to work with you to create a transaction timeline to help ensure that your deal stays on track. Now that we've covered our overview of Glide offers, we're next going to be moving on to offer creation. Now, once you create a purchase transaction, you would then click the Submit Offer tile directly underneath the suggested actions. You're then going to be taken to this offer package page. This is where you're going to have the ability to generate your offer from directly within Glide. Now, you can fill out the required documents, you can send it out for signature, and then you can submit the offer package to that listing agent. For the first step, if I click either the Fill tile or Start Offer Package, the first thing we're going to ask for is whether or not you'd like to start with a purchase agreement, or you do have the option to apply a template. Now, we've spoken to a lot of different brokerages who say they're going to use the same template that they're going to encourage every one of their agents to use. Now, this allows you to build out those templates ahead of time for all of the documents that are required within an offer package that you're going to be putting together, and then you can apply that template to the transaction. Now, whichever one you select, once you click into the document, and we're going to use our RPA as an example, you're going to be able to fill out this RPA one of three ways. You can click directly into the document on the right, fill out that information. You can use our form wizard at the top right as well. Now, if you click on Start Filling, that's going to take you into a full screen view with our guided wizard that's going to help take you section by section to fill out this form instead of going line by line. If you were to click on the form outline on the left-hand side, you're going to see that it's going to take you directly to that section on the right, and it's even going to highlight it in blue. And there's a two-way sync, so anything you fill out on the right is going to show up on the left in the outline, and anything you fill out in the outline on the left is going to show up in the form on the right. And there's also conditional logic built in. So for example, if I change this from fixed to adjustable, it's going to change the questions that are going to be asked in this outline. Now, one of the pieces of feedback that we have received from some of the risk managers and some of the brokers that we've spoken to is that there are consequences for filling out the RPA incorrectly. So what we've done is we've added in these warnings to the RPA. Since individuals may be filling out this form quickly, or maybe they're newer and they just may have filled it out incorrectly. When you're looking to move forward, Glide is going to tell you all of those fields that you've either missed or need any type of corrections. Now, we're not going to stop people from moving forward with the form, but we do put up an alert during multiple steps along the way just to make sure that you're aware of any potential issues with this form. So you can click into any of those warnings on the left-hand side, and it's going to take you directly to that section in the form on the right where there are corrections that are needed. Now, these warnings are a Glide Pro feature. However, if you're a member of CRMLS, they have made this available to all of their agents for free. Now, once you're done filling out the form and you click Save and Close on the top left-hand side, you're going to be taken into your offer package page. From here, you can click into any of the documents to fill them out. You can add additional documents over on the right-hand side by clicking on the drop-down. And then you would choose to select the document on the left with those checkboxes and then choose Get Signatures. Once you do, that's going to take you through our e-sign workflow. You have two e-signature providers to choose from. Glide Signatures, which is our 100% completely free e-signature tool that we've created here at Glide. Or you do have the option to use DocuSign, since we do have a full integration with DocuSign. If you're used to using DocuSign, you're going to have all the same functionality that you're used to. In addition, you're also going to see those warnings for that RPA that we had previously filled out, and we're not going to stop you from continuing forward with the form. We're just making you aware of those particular issues. After you continue through the e-sign process, it's going to take you right back to your offer package page. Once the documents have been signed, then you're going to click on the bottom right-hand side on Prepare Offer Email. That's going to walk you through that process to be able to send off the email to the listing agent to submit your offer package. And that's it. Once you've submitted your offer package, now let's look at the other side as the listing agent on how you can manage those offers that you receive. Now, after the offer package is sent by the buyer agent, even if the listing agent is not a current Glide user, we're still going to send them a summary. If you, as the buyer agent, have submitted it through the MLS, the listing agent is going to get an email alert that says you have received an offer on such and such property. Click here to view the offer. They can then download it, or they can choose to click Manage with Glide, and that's going to push them directly into our platform and allow them to sign up for an account. So they can manage those offers directly from within Glide. However, no matter which option is chosen, they're still going to get this offer summary as the listing agent for the property. You'd see the offer highlights at the top, any key terms. If you scroll down, you'll see those contingencies as well as the offer documents at the bottom. We're making this very simple, very easy for you. So instead of having to parse line by line through the documentation, you can instead just quickly compare the terms that really matter to you. What we're going to do at this time is jump into our live environment. And we're going to go into an example of what it looks like to have received offers for a property. I'm going to use 123 South Main Street as an example. When I click into the transaction, then I'll go over to the left-hand side and click on the offers section. From here, you can see that I have received some offers down at the bottom of the page. On the top left, you can choose to toggle off the accepting offers toggle. It will be on by default, but maybe you've received enough offers for this property, you no longer want to receive any more offers, you can choose to toggle this off. If you toggle that off, that is going to gray out or disable the offer submission button on the MLS page, on the property portal, and even directly within Glide. You also have the ability to copy that property portal link, and you can send this to any of those buyer agents for them to be able to choose to click on that submit offer button to be able to submit an offer for this property. You do also have the ability to click on the customize link. From here, I can choose whether I want to have an open-ended deadline, or I can specify a specific date and time for the submission deadline. You can also include any of those instructions that I had mentioned previously when we were looking to submit an offer as the buyer agent. Here is where, as the listing agent, you can include those instructions that are going to be seen by the buyer's agents. You can choose to receive text message notifications whenever an offer is submitted. This is going to pull your number directly from your settings, but you can adjust this if you need to, and you can even add additional phone numbers. You can confirm your contact information down below and even upload a cover photo of yourself. If you do make any changes, just make sure you click Save down at the bottom right-hand side. On the right-hand side, you're going to see how many offers have been submitted for this property, how many property portal views there have been. And on the top right-hand side, you're going to see an Add Offer button. Maybe the buyer agent didn't go through the MLS, they didn't go through the property portal, and maybe they didn't even go directly through Glide to be able to submit that offer. Maybe they just sent you an email with a PDF copy of that offer document. You'd be able to choose to click on the Add Offer button. You'd be able to manually upload that documentation into Glide. And we're going to use what's called OCR technology. It's optical character recognition to pull the information from the document and then put it into this point of comparison, just like you see here on the page. You will have the ability to change any of the information there, so you can confirm that the information that's coming from the documentation is correct before it's put into this point of comparison. And we do have a couple different ways that you can view these offers. We have this compare view where it's going to put it into columns, or you can switch it over into a table view, which is going to put it into rows. It's all of the same information. It's just personal preference on how you'd like to view these offers. You can also filter these offers by looking at all of them, just the ones that you've put as favorites, any pending offers, or any that you've put as inactive. On the offer itself, you can click on the star to set as a favorite. You can click in the middle and drag to reorder however you want for these offers. You can click on the ellipsis, those three dots on the right-hand side, and then choose Archive, which would put this offer into the inactive section. Over on the right-hand side, you're going to see two buttons. And the first one is the Offer Sharing button. This is going to be off by default. So if you did want to share these offers with your client specifically and give them access to their own offer workspace, you're going to click on the Offer Sharing button. From here, there's two toggles. And the first one at the top is going to allow you to enable the offers in the seller's workspace. Now, if your seller has already used Glide, maybe for their seller disclosures, they're already going to have a Glide account. They would be able to just sign right back into their Glide account and view those offers, the same ones that I see here as the listing agent, in their own Glide account. You can also add additional sellers if they haven't been pulled over from your transaction parties and detail section. And then the toggle down at the bottom allows you to mask the buyer's information from those sellers. This is our way of helping reduce some of the bias in the industry by hiding those buyer names, as well as hiding the offer documentation that would normally be seen in your seller's workspace. Once you click OK, that'll allow you to send off an email to that seller, letting them know that they can now log into their own Glide account to be able to view those offers. Let's take a look now at what it looks like for a seller to be able to log in and view the offers in their own seller's workspace. After your seller logs into their own seller workspace, on the top right-hand side, they're going to see the property information, the listing agent's information, and then down towards the bottom left under Quick Access, you're going to see the tile that says Offers. Once the seller clicks into it, they're going to be able to view any of the offers that have been received on this property. I can click to filter by all offers and it'll show all of them, or I can just view my favorites, any that are pending, or any inactive offers. From here, if I was to click into one of the offers as the seller, notice at the top that the buyer's information is going to be blurred out. And if I scroll down to the bottom, there's going to be no documentation listed. That's because as the listing agent, I chose to mask the buyer's information from the seller. If we go back in as the listing agent, you're also going to be able to use on the top right-hand side what's called the Present button. Now, this is also a Glide Pro feature, or if you're part of CRMLS, they've also made this available to their members for free. Maybe you don't want to give access to your seller to their own workspace, and instead you'd rather hop on a Zoom call, or maybe you're in person with that client and you'd like to present them with these offers. Well, instead of showing them this page with all this information in the background, you can show them a nice professional view by clicking on that present button. It's going to have all of the same information and nothing else that they don't need to look at. Now, additionally, there's different statuses for each offer. On here, any pending offers means that you have not taken any action on the offer yet. If it says countering, that means that you've started the counter process, but you have not gone all the way through and you have not submitted those counter documents yet. Countered means that you have gone through the entire counter process and you've sent off the email with the counter documents as well. If you reject an offer, it's going to have a red rejected status. If you accept an offer, it's going to have a green accepted status as well. Now we're going to go into a different transaction as an example. I've set up a transaction here that does have two offers. So I'll go into my offer section and there's two pending offers down below. One I'm going to counter, one I'm going to accept for this training. Let's say we click into the bottom offer, and this is the one I'm going to counter. You have three options on the top right: accept, counter, and reject. Now, the good thing is even if you do go through, there's multiple steps to reject or to accept an offer. Maybe you still go through the entire process and you reject an offer, but that wasn't the one you meant to reject. You're also going to have an undo button here on the left-hand side underneath the status. But we're going to show you the counter process at this time. Once I click into counter, from here, I'm going to be able to select my latest offer document. I'm going to use my demo RPA as an example. Click continue on the right. From there, it's going to ask if you've already prepared that counter document. You can select the option on the left. If you need to create a counter document at this time, select the option on the right. From here, you're going to have two options to choose from, including a single counter offer or a multiple counter offer. We're going to use a single counter offer for our training for today. It's going to take me right into that documentation where I can fill out any information that's needed, add any additional terms, and then click Save and Close on the top left. From there, it's going to take me into my counter offer package page. This is where I can click into any of those documents to fill them out, add any additional documents on the top right. And when I'm ready, I'll select the document and then choose Get Signatures. From here, I'm going to walk through that e-sign process. We have two signature providers, Glide Signatures or DocuSign. You're going to scroll down to the bottom. You have the ability to replace the original once it's been signed, which is going to move that original document to your trash can and leave you with your one signed copy in that counter offer package section. This will be on by default, so you can leave it checked, or if you do want to have both documents, a signed and unsigned copy, you can uncheck this box. Once you click Continue, then it's going to ask who needs to sign and who is just a recipient of this document. Notice at the top that I do have a toggle where I'm able to turn on the signing order. That allows me to either drag and drop these individuals to set a signing order, or I can use the numbers on the left-hand side. If I want to add an additional recipient, I can click to add a recipient. Maybe I enter in their name and their email address, and then I can choose the dropdown and choose whether they need to sign it, or I can choose CC. CC is carbon copy. Just like in an email, it's going to send them a signed copy after all parties have signed. Once you have your signers and recipients set, click Continue at the bottom right. From there, it's going to take you right into the document where you can add any additional tabs that are needed. If I need to add an additional tab, I can select who the tab is going to be for. I can click, drag, and drop that tab anywhere within the form that I need to. You notice that we have initial tabs, date signed, radio tabs, which is essentially just a circle instead of a square for a checkbox. We have text tabs where you can actually expand it over that field, and whoever's going to be filling out can type directly into that tab. We also have a drop-down tab where you can select what those drop-down options are going to be over on the right-hand side. To delete a tab, click on the trash can on the top right, and it's going to remove it from your document. You can also choose whether a tab is going to be required or optional. By default, it is going to be a required field. If I uncheck this box, you'll notice that it now says optional. Check it again, it then becomes a required signature field. When you have all of your tabs set, click Continue on the bottom right. From there, you can send a message to those recipients. You can adjust the subject, add a message into the body of the email. If this is a long message that you're manually typing, you don't have to do that every time. You can save it as a template, and the next time you come in to send off a document for signature, just apply that same template that you created. You have one more chance to edit the recipients or the documents, and then click Send on the bottom right to send off that signature request. Once it's been sent successfully, choose Back to Transaction. From here, it's going to say Waiting for Signature over that document. If you want to view who has signed and who has not signed at any point in time, you can click onto your Signatures tab. From here, hover over the status, and right now I can see that it was sent to Jonah, who is going to have to sign the document first. Then it would send it to Miguel, who would sign it. Once it's completely signed, then it's going to come back into my Documents section as a signed copy of that document. Once the document has been signed, then you can choose to prepare that counter email. Now, I'm not going to be able to go through this process because it would require me to get those signatures first. But once you click on Prepare Counter Email, there's a couple pages that you're going to have to go through to confirm the information that is part of that counter offer. You're going to have to confirm the information for the other agent that you're sending this offer package to, and then you're going to send off that email with the counter documentation attached. Once you've sent off that counter documentation, you go back to your offers management page. Instead of countering, once I send off that email, then it would say countered for this particular offer. When you're ready to accept an offer, I'm going to use my second pending example. We're going to click on Accept on the top right-hand side. From here, I'm going to choose my latest offer document, click Continue on the right. Then I would select the document after it's been filled out, choose Get Signatures. Once I go through that same exact e-sign process that we just went through when we were going through the counteroffer process, then I would choose Prepare Accept Email down at the bottom of the page. It's going to make sure that you do have these documents signed. I'll click Continue to go through that process. From here, I'm going to confirm the buyer's agent's contact information, including their email, which is required, and optionally, I can enter in their phone number. I would have to check the box to confirm that the agent's information is correct, then select Continue on the bottom right. From here, this is my offer email page. If you're submitting an offer, it would just say Submit at the top. If you're countering an offer, it would say Counter. And now that I'm accepting an offer, this email page says Accept Offer. From here, I can connect to either a Google or an Outlook account. And if I connect to one of those accounts, I can choose which email account I'd like to send this email from. By default, it will be a Glide email address. However, maybe I've connected to my Google account. I'd be able to select Connect to Google, sign into my Google account. And when I choose to send it from that email, not only are we going to track that directly within Glide, but it's also going to show up in your sent mailbox within your Gmail account. It's automatically going to add in that buyer's agent and their email, but I can add any additional recipients that are needed here. I can adjust the subject, add any information into the body of the email, and then down at the bottom, there's two document delivery options: by email link and by email attachment. By default, by email link is going to be selected. That allows us to track whether or not the buyer agent has actually viewed the offer documents. And that link is going to be placed right here in the middle of that email. Now, if you accidentally delete this, maybe you're entering some of your own information into that email, this will still be automatically replaced for you when you go to send off that offer email. Additionally, you do have the ability to choose by email attachment. If you choose this option, it's going to remove that link and it'll instead add the offer documents as an attachment to that email. If you choose this option, we will not be able to track or notify you whenever the agent has viewed that offer. If you have buy email link selected, you can also choose to have our confidence booster by keeping this box checked at the bottom, which is going to send you a text message whenever the buyer agent has viewed or interacts with your offer. And that's going to pull your number directly from your settings. Once you have your options selected, click Continue on the bottom right. From there, it's going to send off the offer documentation. It's going to take you right back into your offer management page, and it's going to say accepted for that status. I'm going to go back to my previous section. It's now going to say accepted. And if I go into my overview section on the top left, here's where I can set up my transaction timeline. Now, two things need to happen before you can set up this timeline. You need to have accepted an offer, which we just did, and you need to make sure that your transaction is placed into under contract, which is automatically going to do for you. Now, transaction timelines are either a Glide Pro feature, or if you're part of CRMLS, they have made this available to all of their agents for free. To start the transaction timeline process, you can click either on the top left-hand side or on the right. Each one is going to take you through the same exact process. We're going to let you know first what you're about to go through in this workflow, how you're going to save time since Glide is going to pull those dates directly from the contract, how you can set up that transaction timeline and also your key contacts and be able to share it with anyone that you choose using our email tool. And you can also connect those key dates directly with your Google Calendar. Once you click continue, it's going to start that workflow. And you're first going to need to add the offer documentation. For this example, I'm going to choose add document, add for my transaction. I'll select my document under my accepted offer folder, and then choose add document at the bottom. Once it's uploaded, choose continue on the right-hand side. From here, it's going to detect the information in that actual document and start extracting those dates. It'll take me right into the document. And on the top left-hand side, I'm first going to have to select the offer accepted date. From here, let's say that today is my offer accepted date. I'll choose next. Then I can choose to use our Smart Date Recognition tool. If I click on the button that says Add Dates to Timeline, it's going to pull the information from the document and put it over on the left-hand side. That's going to be indicated by the little pink lightning bolts. Anything that I manually enter is going to be a green circle with a check mark in the middle. If it misses any of those key dates, or maybe they weren't filled out on the form, you can always manually enter them here at this time. You enter the date, click save, and it's going to add it to that timeline. Now you're also going to notice that it adjusts those dates due to any weekends or holidays, and you can choose whether this is a particular number of days after acceptance, or you can just select a fixed date. Once you've entered in all of those dates, and you can add additional dates by selecting Add Key Date at the top, you're going to choose Done with Timeline. From there, you're going to review your timeline either in this linear list view, or you can look at it in a calendar view. It's just personal preference, just to make sure that all of these key dates are correct. If you need to make any adjustments, just click back. Once everything looks good, click Continue on the right-hand side. From there, you're going to confirm the key parties that are part of your transaction, and this is going to pull that information directly from your Parties in Detail section in your transaction. You can add any additional parties here that are needed, then click Continue on the right. Now your transaction timeline is set up, and you have a couple additional options. You do have the ability to compose an email, and if I click here, it's going to be that same email page that we've seen before. And if you've already connected with your Google or your Outlook account, you would not have to do that again. You would be able to just choose from the dropdown which account you'd like to send this from. You'd be able to add who you're going to be sending this email to. In this example, I'll say that I'm going to send it to my team and my clients. Then I'd be able to adjust the subject, add any information into the body of that email, add any additional attachments, and then down at the bottom, here's where I can select which key dates and which key contacts I'd like to share as part of this email. If I select that dropdown, on the right-hand side, maybe there's a couple of these dates that I don't want to share. I can just uncheck those boxes. Same thing with the key contacts. Maybe I don't want to share my transaction coordinator's information. I can uncheck that box. And once I click send, it's only going to share the key dates and the key contacts that I chose to the individuals here. You can compose as many emails as you'd like. Then you'll click Done Sharing Timeline on the bottom right. There's one more option that you have is to connect these key dates directly to your Google Calendar. Just like before, I can uncheck any of those dates that I do not want to add to that calendar. You'd select Next and run through the process of connecting to your Gmail account. I'll say no thanks at this time. We're going to go back to our transaction. From here, now on the right-hand side, that transaction timeline is set up. At any point in time, you can add additional dates, send off that email with the key dates and key contacts attached. And also, if you didn't do it before, you can at this time connect to your Google Calendar. If you want to set up reminders for any of these key dates, click into the date on the right. And at the bottom, you're going to see personal reminders. From here, I can choose to add a reminder. I'll select the type, whether it's going to be email, text message, or both, and then choose when I would like to receive that reminder. And you can add multiple reminders to the same date. Just make sure you click Save at the bottom right if you do make any adjustments. Right, a lot of information that we've covered so far in today's training. We're going to jump back into our slide deck at this time, go through a recap, and wrap up the training for today. During today's training, we first showed you how Glide Offers is looking to help you in the offers process. We ran through how you can create and submit an offer as a buyer agent. We went through the process of how you can manage those offers as the listing agent directly within Glide, including giving access to your seller to their own seller's workspace where they can view those offers on their own. We also showed you the process of how you can counter or negotiate back and forth directly within Glide, and also how to accept an offer and then set up your transaction timeline. Now that's it for today's training. If you do need any additional help, we have our help center at help.glide.com. A lot of great resources available for you, including step-by-step instructions in a lot of those articles, topic-based videos, little 2 to 5 minute videos, as well as FAQ list to let you know what are some of the most commonly asked questions in our webinars. If you have any additional questions afterwards, you can always reach out to our support team by emailing support@glide.com.